Good morning. Hi guys. Hello. Good morning everybody. Hello. Who's here today? Good morning. Hi guys. Hope everyone's okay. Adam Shady Winfield. How are you on here first every time? Amazing. Do you set an alarm? Or you just happen to be here? Good morning everybody. Hope you're okay. Anyone on Facebook this morning? Nobody up? I have actually just been trying to, good morning, I've just been trying to get set up to go live on YouTube as well. But I'm not sure about having 3 phones in front of me. I thought that might be a bit scary. Good morning. Hi Fatima, thank you for joining me. Good morning. Hi everybody, I hope you're okay. Everyone all right? I have just been sent a photo from one of the followers on Instagram, all ready to watch the live with the most delicious looking breakfast. It's made me very jealous. Good morning everybody, I hope you're okay. Hi Laura on Facebook. Hello. My YouTube name is playHOORAY TV or something like that. playHOORAY TV it should be. And I'm starting to put all these videos are now being saved on there as well, because I'm conscious that not everyone has Facebook. However, Facebook saves it forever for me, so I'm steadily updating them and putting them on YouTube. So if you ever want to look back and think, oh, there was one that what was it that she said? You can go back and see it on YouTube. But we're getting there slowly, and now I'm trying to get my head around this IGTV as well. Honestly, you just can't keep up with social media. Who knew? Right, I hope you're all okay. Good morning. Hello from Cafe Nero. Oh, I bet you're having a nice breakfast. Very nice. Cheers to you all. I hope you have... Wow, my mug looks massive this morning. It's really not. Oh, someone... Jojo with a poorly spotty 15-month-old with chicken pox. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. It's tough. Mason got chicken pox when he was tiny and it was horrid. Good morning. I'm new to watching from North Yorkshire. Lovely. I'm a Yorkshire girl, originally from near Leeds. With cream. Wow, how fancy. Jennifer, you pushed the boat out this morning. Very nice. Good morning. Right, should we get on instead of me just chattering away to you? Let me have a big gulp. Someone else with a hand, foot and mouth. Oh dear. This is not the weather to have poorly babies, is it? You do not want to be stuck inside today of all days when it's so beautiful outside. And it's so hot and sticky, isn't it? Okay, so we're doing something a little bit different. I'm stood here because all the sun's starting to come in, so I've got to be careful where I stand or you won't be able to see me. So this morning it is Wednesday, which means Role Play Wednesday or Pretend Play Wednesday, whatever you prefer. So it's all about, with role play, with pretend play, it's all about getting your little ones to use their imagination, lots of storytelling. You'll quite often see when they are doing pretend play that you'll see them start using things that they've seen in TV shows that they've been watching, any YouTube shows, anything like that, any stories that you've read, you'll start to see, I'm just going to move you across like that, you might start to see them using things, stories, films, programmes, anything like that, in their play, because it's all the starting steps, the small steps for storytelling and all that sort of stuff. So it's brilliant. It's a really great way of encouraging your children to use their imagination, and it's a great way of getting lots of speech and language into their play too. It's a great way for you to play with them and introduce new vocabulary, and it's also a really nice way of practicing something that you've done, any experience of them, things. So that's a bit similar to what I'm going to show you this morning. Quite a basic one, but we're going about it a different way, just to mix it up a little bit. Because I get lots of questions from people saying that they set up play activities for their little ones. Well, first of all, they say that they spent a long time setting up play activities for their little ones. And you know that I always say, don't spend long setting up your play activities, because it's more than likely that they won't play with it. The quicker the setup, the better it is. For some reason, it's just the rules of play. Keep it really simple. And normally the simpler ones are the most effective ones. So keep your play setups really simple, but I know that people are getting disheartened saying that when they do set things up, that then the children are choosing not to play with it. Good morning, Mama Smith too. I saw your beautiful breakfast this morning. I'm just telling everyone that I was very envious, so enjoy that. Thank you for joining this morning. So, forgot what I was saying. I've been distracted by the thoughts of breakfast, haven't I? We are setting up a small world role play, and it's all to do with practicing lots of experience of things. But don't be disheartened if your little ones, if you set something up and your little ones choose not to play with it. If they don't play with it initially, try and keep it out if you can. I always try and say, I know it's not always the easiest thing, try and leave your activities out for a week. I know it's a long time, and I know we do want our houses back, but by leaving it out for a week, it just means that your children can revisit and come back to it when they're in different moods. So they may be tired, or they may just not be in the mood. You know, someone said to me, do you want to come swimming right now? Well, no, I don't really want to go swimming. I'm not in the mood for it, but tomorrow morning I might be. So you've just got to remember that children don't always like every type of play. They don't always like the messy play or the painting things. So don't be disheartened if they don't like every type of play that you put out, but also not to worry if you set something up and they don't go to it. Leave it out, leave it there, and let them come back to it another time when they're in a different mood, and you'll see how different they play with it. And also let them catch you playing with it. Don't tell them you're going to play with it, just sit and play with it. And more often than not, how many times are you trying to do something, good morning, and they come along and they're like, oh, what are you doing? What are you doing? And they want to join in, don't they? So if you find that you set things up and your little ones aren't playing, have a little play yourself, let them watch you, let them catch you playing, and then more often than not, they might join in. But yeah, so don't be disheartened. So going along those lines, just to mix things up for pretend play this morning, not all children like pretend play, so it's worth remembering that. And there's also different types of pretend play. There's the role play, which is where maybe you set up a cafe and your child takes on the role of being the waiter or the customer or a shop or something like that, where they can actually take on the role. Or the small world play, good morning Laura, the small world play as well, where your child has, oh the sun is right in the way today, where your child is using their voice and storytelling through little people or animals or little things. So it's a small world means it's just on like a smaller scale basically. So there's two types of role play, and we're going to set up the small world today. However, we're doing a little bit different. I'm sorry, that sun is just right in the way, and we don't have any blinds, so I can't move it. Good morning, Lauren. Thank you for joining us. So we're going to set up I've made this worse, haven't I? I'll stand here. We're going to set up a small world today, and I'm linking it to, anyone that's been following me for a while may have seen that last week we went on holiday, so I'm going to link it to our holiday. So I'm linking it to an experience. It's not completely random. So ours is actually, the theme of today's is actually going to be the seaside. However, if you've never been to the seaside with your little one, it's not really a good one to set up because they can't link to it unless they've seen lots of footage. Maybe they've seen clips or stories and things like that. It's better to try and set up things that they've actually experienced, like a shop or like a cafe where they may have been. I'm setting up the seaside because we were on holiday last week and we had quite a few events, quite a few things went on while we were at the beach. So it's a really nice way of practicing something that your little one has experienced, good way of remembering things, and just practicing using our experiences in our play. And it'd be really interesting to see how my little one interprets what he saw and what we did with this setup. So the way it's going to work today is a little bit different because I was saying that more often than not, because I was saying that some children, when you set up an activity, choose not to do it, and we're going to go about it in a little bit of a different way. So instead of doing the setup, we're actually going to let our little ones do the setup, let your child do the setup. So I'm going to show you how it's going to work. I've got one of these trays. It's a little bit small, it's about 60 centimetres and about the same depth as a tuss spot. So you could use this, you could use a tray, you could use a mat, plastic tablecloth, tuss spot. You could use whatever you want. I've just got this one out that I would pair it with because it's a nice size. These are great. If you do fancy one of these on Amazon and eBay, if you type in something like gardening tray or something like that, you might find these. They're not a lot at all, and particularly if you're not ready to invest in a tuss spot, these are quite a handy alternative and a little bit smaller. So the idea is, today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have that tray out, but it's going to be empty, and I'm going to have all the resources that I would normally put in to set up for him, but to let Mason, my little boy, set it up himself. So it's giving them the responsibility, it's letting them choose what goes in it. No doubt he'll add in things that I've not even thought of, which is brilliant. You know, try not to be too overprotective of the activities that you do set up. If they change them, that's fine. So it's more of a DIY jobby today, which I really think my little boy, Mason is 3.5 now, so I think he should really enjoy it. Oh, that sun's getting in my face. Okay, so the way I've done it is, I've just put out a little tray. I'm trying to tip it so you can see it. I've just put out a tray of goodies, and what I will do, I will put this tray of items next to the tray. So Mason, my little boy, can literally set it up himself. So I'm going to show you what I've got on there, and it might just inspire, I have got a lot. It might just inspire you for some things. You might not have everything. Don't worry if you don't. Just use what you do have. And again, you might change it, so maybe Seaside's not your thing. You might want to do something else. So simply, all I'm going to do is have some bits and pieces, some resources for him to choose from, and I'll tell you why I've chosen some of the things too, because it links to what happened while we were on the beach. So, first of all, there is a big bucket of sand. Just went and got it out of our sand pit, so he can pour that in. And again, it just means that he can decide, you know, how he wants the beach to look and how he wants the sea to look. I might have it in my head that it's going to look one way, but it'd be really interesting to see how he does it. There's also to do the water. You could have real water if you wanted. It depends what resources you're putting in with it. But I've also got some blue tissue paper, which works really nicely. You can scrunch that up. You can pour the sand then on top of it and make a lovely beach. Or I've got one of the little baby cloths, so you might have a pashmina or some material or something like that. And you can make the sea a really nice blue for the sea. And then, oh, it's just getting on my nerves. Okay, and then, good morning. Bethany says hello, Claire. Hello, Bethany. Thank you for joining us. So for the Seaside, I've then got lots of bits and pieces, and I've put them in containers so you can see them. So first of all, I've got lots of sea animals in here. Some are from a toy that once broke, so I've got lots of little fish, tropical fish. And then these are just a set, I think there were, I put these on Mason's Christmas list from my sister. I think they were Amazon or eBay, just a little set of sea animals. So the animals can go in. Now the reason why I've put animals in, my little boy Mason is normally into his transport and his vehicles. However, when we were at the beach, one of the days, the sea was flooded with jellyfish and we weren't allowed to go in. So we were looking at the jellyfish. My dad managed to scoop one out with a bucket so we could look really closely at it. So we were doing lots more talking about the animals. So I've included animals. I don't have a jellyfish, but we can do some pretending. So I've got some lovely animals there for him. Got a couple of little buckets. These were from IKEA ages ago. I always get asked about these. But just some little buckets, and I found a tiny little spade from his Lego. I also put in a bucket with a few little coins, because whenever we're at the beach and Mason is digging, we always play that old game of chucking some little coins in while he's digging a hole, and he thinks he's found treasure. That's always a good game if you're on the beach. So I've put some little coins in case he wants to bury them in the sand to remember when he was on holiday and discovering all the pirates' treasure. Because then we use the coins to go and buy an ice cream, as you do. So that leads me on nicely to ice creams. Whenever we go to the beach, we get ice cream because it's compulsory. So I've put in a couple of these little plastic ice creams. Some of these were a CBeebies magazine about 2 years ago, so if you ever see it again, worth getting. And you can get these in Tiger and lots of different shops at the moment. And then I haven't got a little fishing net, but I've got a little sieve, so I put that in as well. And also, the beach we were on, we weren't far from Malaga Airport, so of course there were a lot of aeroplanes going over. So I've included an aeroplane because, as you can imagine, every 10 minutes Mason was saying, aeroplane, 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 and we were watching and counting the aeroplanes. So I've put one in because that links to what he saw when he was at the beach. Then I have put in some little people. If he wants to have some little people on his beach, he may want to represent me and his daddy and himself, and he might want to do that for his storytelling. And then I've got I've got a little camera as well. This is an old Mr. Tumble pretend camera from a magazine, because funnily enough, Mummy takes quite a lot of photos when we're on holiday, so I'll put a little camera in as well. And then just some natural resources. I've got a selection of shells, some big ones. These are the things that we were cleaning yesterday, and a small little pot of shells. I've just got some little glass beads, which are really nice whenever you're doing water and things. As long as your little one's not at the point of putting things in their mouths, these glass beads are lovely. Oh, fab, you've got planes going over all the time. Oh, Mason would love it there. And then some nice, chunky, heavy rocks. and pebbles that we were playing with. So it's really simple. Oh, and I've managed to find an old empty suntan lotion bottle as well, because of course while we were on holiday I was plastering this on him 24/7. It's an empty one anyway, so you can just pretend to squirt with it. So as you can see, the idea is that we have this tray set up with all his resources, and I have this tray alongside it for him to put them in and set up his own play. Now then, if he puts in the sand and then just does the natural stuff, that's fine. He might not even choose to put in the sand, he might just have the people, or he might just have the plane. That's absolutely fine, because it's going with what interests them, what sparks their imagination. So it's go with the flow. Try not to say, oh, what about this, and oh, why don't we put this in and stuff. Try not to be too protective of it. Let them just go with whatever they want to do, and I'm sure that you will find that it will be more effective because they've chosen it. They're making the choices. It's all about supporting them to become independent and responsible for their own play, and following their own ideas, so not always just using yours. So if you don't want to do the seaside, you can do something else, but just the idea of having the resources ready alongside, it just means that they can set it up themselves, can't they? And then I've just got a couple of books as well to go with it, which are really lovely. This is a really nice one, Julia Donaldson, Sharing a Shell. Some lovely things in here, and there's some really lovely pictures. Now, it's got a lot of rock pools in, but I must confess we didn't see any rock pools. It wasn't the kind of beach for us to see rock pools. So that's a lovely. So there's some really lovely pictures you could have out. That's a nice one, isn't it? And what I might do is I could always have it out, and you could always put pegs on here, or if you've got a cookbook stand, recipe book stand, or even put some elastic bands around it. It's nice to hold the book open so they've got a picture just to support their imagination. It might just inspire them a little bit. I was actually going to say, if you're recently joining playHOORAY, if you go on Facebook, if you do have a Facebook account, over there I now have the playHOORAY book club, which is a great place where you can put in holidays and you can find all the books linked to holidays that lots of parents, carers and educators are recommending. So you might not have a book, but your library, you might be able to find a library, so that's a really handy place. So go on my Facebook page, you can find the book club. And then this one is really old. It hasn't even got a barcode, it's that old. 1984 this one was published. I picked it up in a charity shop. But actually, the pictures are brilliant. It's just called At the Seaside. It's an Usborne one, so I'm sure they have a more up-to-date one. And they've just got some really great pictures, very simple pictures of things going on. And again, oh, the ice cream shop, that would always be popular in this house. I could always have these out, having a picnic. We did have a picnic one day on the beach, so that might be quite nice. You could always have this out, again, peg it or stand it up so it just inspires your little one, particularly if the holiday was a while ago and they're trying to remember, or whatever you're setting up. So yeah, it can just be, sometimes having some images and things can be really helpful to inspire them and spark their imagination. All right, so I hope that's helpful. Just a different way of doing some pretend play. So it's very much DIY, so you get the resources ready but don't actually set it up. Let them set it up for themselves, and then you just have to go with the flow, and you can sit nearby and you can play and you can add in the words and things. Someone is just saying, how would I introduce this? Okay, the way that I would do it is that I would simply have these ready. You see, I've got them ready already, so Mason's not seen me get it ready, but sometimes he does see me. If he sees me getting things ready, he will ask, and he's likely to want to play with it. I would simply, it's nice and lovely out in the garden today, in the shade, I would leave out the tray, and I would leave this next to it, the tray of resources next to it, and I pretty much sit back and watch and see what he does with it. It's quite self-explanatory really, isn't it? Just having the tray and having the things there. You may just play with it on the tray, but I think having the empty tray next to it, this is a tray that we normally do activities in, he may just look at it and think, do you know what, I might set something up. So it's quite interesting, you could just see what they do. If not, you could then sit with it and begin to set bits and pieces up, and then more than likely they'll come over and be like, what are you doing? What's going on? Can I put this in? And can I pull the sand in? And that sort of stuff. And then you gradually step back and let them play. And then while they're playing, I would sit nearby. I wouldn't just think, oh, right, it's playing now, I can go. With role play and pretend play, it's really important that you take the time whenever you set up some sort of imaginative, well, any activity really, is that you sit and you play with them and you show them how you play with the things. You show them how you do the voices of the little people, or you do the running commentary, Oh, I'm going to use this sieve as a little fishing net, and I'm going to see if I can catch a little fish in the sea. Oh, can you remember when we saw the jellyfish in the sea? Should we see if we can catch some jellyfish? And it's all that sort of the language and sparking their imagination, maybe reminding them memories. And then as you're talking, just try and sit, but try not to ask them too many questions. Try to let them just play and go with the flow. It's really tricky, it's really hard. It's a lot of training for early years staff to be able to do it with children. So just sit by them, and it just helps children to make them feel safe, and it also shows children that you value their play, that you think a lot of them playing. Give them loads of praise and sit nearby while they're playing. Does that help? I hope so. Now, due back from our holidays, this would be a lovely activity for my little one to do, where she's been and what she's been up to. Lovely, yeah. We went swimming yesterday, just setting up a little swimming pool. Brilliant, yeah, and they will jump in. Fantastic. Brilliant, that's it. So it's setting up things that you've done, or maybe a story that's really sparked them at the minute, you know. Don't know, maybe you've done a story about a pond. You could set up, have the resources ready for setting up a pond, and then they can do it themselves. But a seaside's a nice one, particularly if you've been on holiday or you're planning to go on holiday soon, something like that. Is that okay? Show me, let me know what you think of that one. So I'm going to end it there. Oh, I've been on a long time this morning, haven't I? Thank you very much for joining me. If you do manage to do any pretend play, any small world, anything like that, we live by the sea but never thought of this. Brilliant, yeah, have a little go and just see what your little one does. Or if not, maybe next time you're at the seaside, collect some things to then use when you get back, and you could set stuff up with it. Do you have any particular places to go to buy resources? Pound shop. I go to the pound shops a lot. Tiger, if you have a Tiger nearby, is a brilliant place. EduTopics is a great website that have lots of lovely resources. Amazon and eBay, I get a lot of stuff. The majority of my stuff for my little boy, including birthday presents I buy from him, are second-hand. Charity shops, car boot sales, Gumtree, I get a lot on Gumtree. You can get some fantastic pieces on Gumtree as well. So don't spend a lot, please don't spend a lot. Please try and use what you have. I'm very conscious I'm not here to make people feel like they have to go and spend more money. You don't. You'll be amazed at what you've got in your house that you can actually use already. I hope that helps. Please send me a fan mail. The fan mail has been wonderful this week. It's been so nice to see, so I'll be sharing those. Thank you, some good tips for when he's old. They're currently 17 weeks old. Oh, well, thank you very much for joining, Lauren, and all these tiny days. I hope you enjoy being a mummy. Right, we're going to finish there. Thank you very much, everybody. Let me know what you get up to today. Send me photos, and I will see you soon. Tomorrow is over 3's Thursday, so if your children are a little bit older, we're going to do some activity for those. However, they can be adapted for if your children are a little bit younger as well, so don't worry. Right, see you tomorrow. Thank you very much, everybody. Bye.